So today we're talking about what I believe is the toughest task, the hardest thing for you to do when it comes to building wealth and building a business is getting that first $100,000. And I don't necessarily mean making $100,000 because we know that if you make a $100,000, that doesn't mean that you get $100,000. So I'm more so talking about $100,000 that you put into your bank account from your work in your business. That will be the toughest, that's the hardest task that you would have when you first get out of the gate in your business. And it is very tough for a number of reasons. In this video today, I am going to explain, I'm going to give you some reasons from my own experience of building wealth, building a business from zero. I think it was Charlie Munger that said, accumulating wealth, starting from zero with no seed money and getting to $100,000 is probably the hardest task when it comes to building wealth. So I want to talk to you about some specific things of why that is so that you can understand it and you'll know what you're getting ready to run into. Now, just in case you don't know who Charlie Munger is one of the richest men in this world. He co-founded one of the most successful companies in the United States of America, in the world, Berkshire Hathaway, with his partner, Warren Buffett. And he says that the first 100,000, here it is, the richest man or one of the richest men in the world says making that first 100,000 is the most difficult task that you'll face. So we need to pay attention, I believe, when somebody like that makes a statement about something that's so important, because let's think about it. Regardless of whether your goal is 1 million or 10 million, you cannot get there before you get to 100,000. So we need to understand some things about getting to 100,000. When I try and tell people how tough, how hard it is to get started from zero, they look at me like I have two heads. Like I know that already. But knowing and being prepared are two completely different things. I'm trying to help you prepare because when you first get started, nobody knows who you are. You are a brand new business just coming on the scene. And there are already more players in the game. People that are already known, much better known than you will ever even think about being. And then there's some out there that just coming in the game, getting their name out there, and you don't have any of that established yet. When you're starting from zero, you don't have leverage. And when you don't have leverage, it makes it very, very difficult. And that flows into my first thought. What is leverage? What do I mean when I say leverage? When I say leverage, I simply mean money. And when you first get started, unfortunately, you don't have much money. So you're not going to hire out any task. All of the task in the business is on you. Everything that's required for that business to move forward is on your shoulders. You're wearing all of the hats. So when you're operating that way, that means you're spending tons of time, but you're only achieving a small amount of output. So that makes you very inefficient. And you cannot skip this part. It's a part of the process. It's a part of the steps that we have to take, because you as a business owner, you have to learn every aspect of the business, not a part of it, not a piece of it, but every single aspect of that business that allows for you to turn the first dollar. And that's not easy. That's the tough part. And it usually requires a whole lot more effort than you may think. All right. Now, the second reason why it's so tough to earn that first 100,000, to put that first 100,000 in the bank, is because of the repeated actions that you have to take. Anybody can do something one time. You go out and you establish a baseline, a standard, a way that you make money in your business. Woo! That's good. That's great. You have really done something. But now you have a foundation and you have to build on that foundation. You have to keep putting building blocks. You have to keep putting blocks on that foundation. Repeat, repeat, repeat. And a lot of people have a problem with that. A lot of people have a problem with repetition, continuing to go out and do something. You see, we have an incentive in our program, in our training program, that says if a person uses the training program, go out, set up their business, moves their first load, we'll give them the money back for the cost of the training program. And I like doing that. That's great. We use that as an incentive to try and get people to keep going. But it's just a start. It's the repeated actions that after that really mean something. For example, I can make $50,000 this month in my business. And man, I'll be happy. That'll be great. But once March 31st comes, all of that is over. It's done with. We're getting ready to go to the new month of April 1st, and March 1 through March 31 doesn't mean anything right now. Now we have to start that process all over again. And that is what is required in the business, and a lot of people don't want to deal with that. The repeated steps, the over and over again. Doesn't matter what I did in February, March is here now. So I have to start all over again in March and do the same thing, put in the same effort or even a greater effort if I want to make more money. Now, the next reason why it's so hard to get to that first 100,000 is because we have stinking thinking. We really don't believe that $100,000 is realistic in a bank account. And the reason why that is because you've never seen it before. Yes, you've been able to say, I'll go out and get a $300,000 house. I'll go out and get a $50,000 car. But to say I'm going to go out and save $100,000 takes extra discipline, and you can't even see that as being real right now. So once you start to change your mind and you start to put good thoughts on your mind, you start to put it on your mind that I'm going after that $100,000, I believe 100% that we become what we think about. When we focus our attention, we focus our efforts on that $100,000, it will eventually come to pass. Now, the question is, how quick, how soon can you make that $100,000 come to pass? That is going to depend on that activity we talked about earlier. How are you doing that repetition thing? How willing are you to repeat those steps over and over again? That is going to determine how fast you get there. Now, the last one I'll share, why it's such a difficult task to get to that $100,000 is because of our habits. You see, when I first started my business, one of the first things that I had to do was fight the urge to spend money. Because when you start making money, then you want to go out and start spending money. You want to go out and start enjoying yourself. It's just a natural thing. For me, when I started to make money, I wanted to spend it. But what I had to realize is that it wasn't about spending money in order to be able to accumulate. To grow wealth is not about spending. It's about using money and using money wisely. Making money work for you instead of you always putting your effort behind working for money. That's a whole lot better to me, learning how to make dollars work for me. So it was about changing your habits. And when you have the old habits, those urge to spend habits, sometimes they outweigh what you're trying to establish anew within yourself. So you have to be disciplined. You have to look at this thing and say, this is not about me spending money. I am not making money to spend money. I'm making money to use it in the wisest way, the way that's going to benefit me the very most. So here's what I want you to take from this video, more so than anything else. You making money, getting to that first $100,000 will be ultimately determined by how well you stack your skill set. Because skills is what determine how much money you make, how fast you make it. So even if you don't get to $100,000 in your first year or your second year, think about it. You may have earned $50,000 and then $80,000, but you're stacking skill sets. And the more skills you learn, the more money you'll make. So focus on your skill set. Focus on adding to your skill set, and your revenue, your overall dollars will increase. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I certainly hope this information is helpful. If you want to learn more about the freight broker business, I'll leave a free link in the description. It's a 5-video series, and it's titled How the Load Movement Process Works. It gives you a chance to come into my office with me. You can watch me as I move loads, talk to shippers and carriers, and hopefully it'll give you a better understanding of how the business works, so you'll come into it in the light instead of coming in the dark. And then if you want to know more about transitioning, going from a part-time to a full-time freight broker, I'll leave a free video right here. So until the next time, I wish you the very best in your life and business. See you at the top, because the bottom is much too crowded.